What's up, all you lovely people, and welcome to a Lovely Penguins. That's me. Top 5 likes and dislikes from Deadpool and Wolverine, the movie. The movie's been out for a little bit. I've seen it twice at this point, but I figured, why not just talk about it a little bit, you know? Why not give you guys a little bit of a likes versus dislikes, which, to be honest with you, I feel like the likes are going to be generally along the same lines of what most people liked about the movies. I tried to be a little bit more intricate with it, and then the dislikes are definitely tougher to come by, but I did make 5, so that's good. And yeah, I thought I'd share them with you guys. And I just want to remind you, this is sheerly all opinions. There's no facts here. It's just my personal opinions, so there's no right or wrong. I encourage you guys to share your opinions with me in the chat, or excuse me, not the chat, in the comment section down below. I'd love to talk with you guys about this. I love Marvel and stuff. I will say I definitely have been feeling the fatigue, the superhero fatigue, from all the movies and whatnot, and honestly this one kind of revitalized me a little bit. I will say I did do a more in-depth talk with one of my buddies. We have our own little review channel. It's called Go Away Reviews, because we didn't want to tell anybody about it, but we figured, why not tell some people about it? Why not let out the secret? So if you want to see a little bit more in-depth, Go Away Reviews, I'll put the link in the description as well, just so you can get there a little bit easier. But again, this is going to be filled with opinions and spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movies, you should have already. It is awesome. I highly recommend it. Go and see it. All right, so go do that. Like number 1. Now I feel like everybody's gonna say this, so I figure I'd say it first, get it out of the way. Cameos. Oh man, oh mama, did they have some awesome cameos in this. I will say, for the most part, I stick away from the trailer, so I only really had one person really spoiled for me, and that was somebody told me about Sabretooth gonna be in the movies. So I was not expecting the entire like villain lineup from the old X-Men movies. Like seeing Toad there, and then there was that like spiky guy, and then like the girl with the fingernails, and all that kind of whatnot. So was definitely not expecting to see them. But I think the biggest ones for me, first off, Blade. That one surprised me more than any of them. I think I was wholeheartedly not ready to see him in this movie, but honestly it's nice, because then it gave me that little feeling of like maybe they kind of made up, because I know in the past Wesley Snipes and Ryan Reynolds, they didn't get along very well, so kind of felt like maybe it was like one of those water under the bridge type of situations, which, you know, gives you that good feel good feeling, you know, feel good feeling, which is awesome. And then honestly, the one that shocked me the most, the absolute most, was actually Chris Evans showing up. Because when he dropped in, I thought, oh man, they have Cap here too? Like, that's crazy. Just like I'm sure tons of you guys thought as well. For then him to then go flame on and turn into the Human Torch was just like so not expecting that at all. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So the cameos, top tier. They crushed it with them. Absolutely crushed it. Dislike number 1. So one of the things I will say, this guys, for the dislikes, I really had to get nitpicky on it, because I'll spoiler alert, I didn't find that many things I didn't like about the movie. But the first one that I came up with is continuity issues. Now, when I say continuity issues, one of the things that really threw me off in the movie was that whole scene with Happy, where he's interviewing, he's in the sacred timeline. But how'd he get there? Right? How'd he get there? How'd he get back? It just doesn't really quite make any sense to me, really. Plus, that was supposed to be in 2018, so it was before he even had the time stone. It was way before he had the TVA phone device that they used to teleport through time and space. So, how'd he do it? I know people will be like, oh, it's, you know, him breaking the fourth wall or whatever, but at the same time, like a little bit of explanation would have lended a nice little hand there. I think definitely could have given us a little bit more there. Again, nitpicking. Like number 2. So with a lot of Marvel movies, I'm always kind of worried because they are really, really pushing the fact that they like need humor in a lot of these movies, right? In Deadpool and Wolverine, I think they actually really nailed it on the head. And realistically, I think the reason why they nailed it on the head is because for the most part, the majority of characters are being played very seriously. The only one who really is goofing around is Deadpool. And I think that kind of builds up like the story enough where things can be taken seriously, but then also you can have a quick laugh with Deadpool as well as with all the craziness that's going on, you know? But yeah, I think they did an incredible job with it. I didn't think any of the jokes were really felt forced or anything like that. Honestly, like they really nailed it with a lot of them. Like even in particular too, the one that stood out to me was Nice Pool. When he's like, oh, like you can do call outs or whatever it was, and he just like turns to the camera. He's like, the proposal. And then cuts right back, like it's so stupid, but it's so funny. Like it's so good, you know, and it's right up Deadpool's alley, the humor. So I loved it. I thought that was awesome. Dislike number 2. Which Wolverine is this? They keep saying he's the worst. They say that in his universe, his timeline, that all of the X-Men and all the other heroes got killed by the humans. Or all the mutants, I should say. They all got killed by the humans, and he was out drinking, so he wasn't there to defend. Which storyline are we talking about here? So immediately my brain went to Mysterio, thinking, oh, this is the comic where Mysterio gets into Wolverine's head and makes it look like all of his friends are actually enemies, so Wolverine ends up killing everybody. And that for me would have been like, that's the worst Wolverine, right? Like that must be the one. But no, they didn't say that. And I will say this with a little bit of a disclaimer. Again, this is definitely me nitpicking it. It's also something that I think they might actually push forward in a possible future movie. Maybe it could be a storyline that they dive a little bit deeper into. You know, which Wolverine is it? Also, side note too, this didn't actually make it on my dislike list, but just because we're talking specifically about Wolverine and how he had all of his friends murdered, how come he could sit in the room with Colossus at the end of the movie and not say anything? He doesn't even look at him, it looks like. That's a weird one. Like number 3. The music was phenomenal, guys. Absolutely phenomenal. The music is basically cameos in and of itself. The way that they picked the music, it's just, they nailed it. I mean, the intro scene with NSYNC, phenomenal. So funny. I literally was cracking up the whole time. It fits perfectly. Him dancing and killing people left and right. They just blended it so seamlessly. Having Madonna in there as well, like, amazing. Perfect climax of the movie music, you know? And it's funny too, because I did see an interview with Ryan Reynolds talking about how he had to go and actually talk to Madonna, who almost never gives out rights to her music to movies, and they talked her into doing it, so it made it a little bit more special again. So the music was absolutely phenomenal. Dislike number 3. All right, this one didn't have as much to do with the movie as much as just a moment in the movie. Why was Dogpool all up in Deadpool's mouth? Oh, yuck. Yuck, dude. So gross. And they kept cutting back to it. And then eventually, Deadpool licks back. Now listen, I know it's an opinion. I know there are people out there who love to kiss their dogs. And I would like to share with you that you are absolutely disgusting and you need help. That is so gross. That is so yucky. Oh, it literally made my skin crawl. It's like, ugh. Oh, it freaks me out even thinking about it now. No thanks. You could add that to my no thank you list for sure. Like number 4. Yo, the fights were so good. The fights were so well done. Every single one of those fights was freaking awesome. obviously my brain immediately goes to the straight up Wolverine and Deadpool fights. One of the things that I actually loved the most about it is just how, honestly, how violent they got with it. And it's just like, just sheer anger in both of them, just going for it, really fighting, not holding back. And also, it's cool to see two guys who both have a healing factor where they can continue to fight and they're not getting tired and, like, you know, they're not getting really hurt, so they just keep going. And it was cool to see a fight like that. Plus, another one, like the attention to detail in some of the fights really was awesome to me. So, like, one of the two was the fight inside of the minivan, the Honda Odyssey, where they're fighting. Wolverine gets shot out through the front windshield, and then Deadpool pulls out his swords and he's ready to fight, and then they get tackled back into it. His swords immediately become useless because they're too long. They're inside of a tight quarters, and he, like, you see him struggling with them for a second, and then he has to drop them. He eventually grabs out the two baby knives and he starts fighting with the baby knives. But it's just like, it's something so simple that they could have totally overlooked and just had him immediately pull out the baby knives. But it just adds that little layer of chaos into the fight, which is awesome. And then the other one that was definitely the most notable is right towards the beginning of the movie, right at the end of the intro, where he has the Wolverine skeleton on his hands. This is Deadpool, sorry. And he shinks and he goes out. He's got the claws out. And he starts to fight with the claws, and he keeps hitting himself with the claws. He stabs into his leg, he stabs into his arm. He's just trying his best, and it's like, it's one of those things that I remember thinking about as a kid, like how much fun it would be to have those, but then also kind of being realistic, where it's like, I don't know if I could do that without actually cutting myself. So to see Deadpool, obviously inexperienced with having claws like that, just immediately just like cutting himself, and he's like, "Ah, oh, damn it! Like, what's?" He's like, "Why are these so hard to use?" Just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. A dislike number 4. So at the end of the movie, where does this leave us, right? Because this is the movie bringing Deadpool into the MCU, right? He's finally breaking into the universe. But at the end of the movie, he's still on his timeline, right? He's been introduced into the sacred timeline, into the main MCU story, but he's not officially in it, right? He's got the TVA. Theoretically, I believe the TVA took their little controller back, so now he shouldn't have access to being able to go through different timelines, but I kind of didn't like that. I almost was hoping he'd end up in the sacred timeline, maybe bring his whole group with him into the sacred timeline as well. Again, not really sure. They might do it completely different. I know they're probably going to do something with X-Men at some point, which, you know, they're going to recast Wolverine and probably Colossus too. So it'll be different people doing the parts and whatnot. So kind of just felt weird about where we left off, where I was like, not really sure. Like, is he a part of the MCU now? Because this movie literally does nothing for the MCU in general, besides potentially just cracking the door open for Deadpool to be part of a bigger storyline, you know? So, wasn't huge on that. Like number 5. The character development in this movie was really well done. I loved the motivation that they gave for Deadpool of, like, him needing to figure out his place in the world and how he can do something to make a difference and to be somebody, you know? Wolverine, he's more on, like, the struggling loner side of just, like, you know, he's had some bad crap happen and he's just doing his best to just try to make it by, you know? But you get these two guys who are honestly like polar opposites, and like one's so angry and really giving up, and then the other one is honestly hyper active and you know, doing his best. And then you just mush them together, and the way that their relationship grows and becomes stronger is just really, really awesome. You see that they actually start to care about each other a little bit by the end of the movie. Even though, like, you know, they still kind of have that rough rapport with each other and whatnot, but still, you do see a lot of serious growth between both of them. And I thought that was awesome. I thought that was absolutely amazing. Dislike number 5. Why all the Honda Odyssey hate? Why? I know this is like the nitpickiest of nitpicky, but yo, one of the favorite cars I've ever had was a Honda Odyssey. It was a 2001 Honda Odyssey. The thing was a beast of a vehicle. And he even made fun of the sound system. I'm like, bro, I haven't had a car with a better sound system than that Honda Odyssey ever. It was so good. It's so convenient and it works really well. I know he kind of comes around at the end after they have the big fight in there and they're like, wow, maybe this thing isn't so bad. But still, I'm not gonna lie, hurt my feelings a little bit. Hurt my feelings a little bit with the Honda Odyssey hate. Just a little bit. We love the Honda Odyssey here. I'd actually like to have another minivan one day if I ever have a family. And it'll probably be a Honda Odyssey if they're still making them. But yeah, man, can't hate on them. You just can't. Just can't. All right, well, guys, that is my top 5 likes and dislikes for the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. So let me know what you guys agreed with, what you disagreed with, and let me know if there's things you might have added or taken away from my list, if you would, or share your own list down in the comments. I'd love to read them. I'd love to see what you guys are thinking. And again, if you want to check out the podcast where me and my buddy, the one who introduced me into superheroes in general, if you want to see me talking with him, then head on to the link in the description. It's the Go Away reviews. We just put up the video, and it's a cool one. All right? So, with that all being said, guys, thanks so much for watching. I love you all. Stay aggressively positive, and we will catch you on the next one. All right? Love you. Bye. Mwah.